What do you want? What do you still want at this point in your career?
I mean, I want to fight for the belt, obviously. It's a much different matchup than I just had. They tried to give me a donut. I took a bite, but I gotta get back to running if I'm gonna fight Makhachev.
I mean, what's he ranked right now? 4th or something, right?
3rd.
Yeah, 3rd. There you go. He's still the number 3 ranked guy in the world. So the odds of him getting a title shot are pretty good.
Yep. You talk about Gaethje and the potential title shot. How would you guys ultimately make the decision on who's next for Islam?
Yeah, well, you guys know there's a lot of different,
What's the issue with Islam?
I don't have anything personal with him. He's the world champion in the lightweight division. I want to move up the lightweight division. I want to face him. It's easier for me to weight cut. I already did it. I already fought at 155 in London against Joy Herbert. I want to do it once again for the world title.
You said that you're ready to go up a division. There's a tweet from Ilia Topuria that he can go up the weight and he can beat you with no problem. What do you think about that?
Justin Gaethje has just called out Islam Makhachev for a title shot, but Ilia Topuria and other fighters are also seeking the opportunity. However, Beneil Dariush explained that Makhachev's southpaw stance makes takedowns harder to land, and he focuses more on striking than Khabib Nurmagomedov. Dariush believes Gaethje could cause damage with his leg kicks if he keeps the right distance.
Stylistically, I think it's very different. Makhachev is southpaw, and that makes it a little bit harder sometimes to get takedowns. And he does like to strike more. It would be a really interesting fight to see between him and Justin. If Justin can keep the proper distance, I think he could definitely cause some damage, especially with his leg kicks.
Dariush noted that Gaethje struggles to land kicks under pressure. While Khabib rushed forward to pressure opponents, Makhachev uses counters to cut off the cage. Dariush also pointed out that Makhachev's superior submissions makes the fight tough for Gaethje.
One thing you have to understand, when you pressure Justin, it's a lot harder for him to throw those leg kicks. Khabib kind of runs forward at you, while Makhachev slowly cuts the cage off with fakes and step by step, counters. He moves you back towards the wall. So it definitely is a different fight. It's not going to be exactly the same fight. But as far as submission goes, you could definitely say Makhachev has even better submissions. He goes for more submissions. So I think it would be it would definitely be a tough fight for Justin.
Javier Mendez believes a fight between Makhachev and Gaethje would play out differently due to Islam's more well-rounded skills, particularly in striking. Mendez emphasized Islam's ability to mix striking and submissions.
It definitely, in my opinion, would play out differently because they're not the same fighter. They're not the same fighter. Islam is more well-rounded than Khabib ever was. So Islam is at the point where he's pound for pound number one because he's well-rounded in all the areas. Khabib was not as well-rounded as Islam is in the striking. His attributes was the ground and the submission and how he can smother you and just make you feel like you're trapped and you can never get out. Islam doesn't have that type of game. He's got a different type of game. His game is incredible. It's submission level based more than anything. And as you've seen it with all his submissions, it's different. It's different. They're not the same fight at all. It's an entirely different fight.
Mendez also stated that Islam can both trade punches and take opponents down, showing his versatility. He mentioned that while Islam has strong wrestling, MMA wrestling is a different skill, making Islam a dangerous opponent for Gaethje.
In Islam, he can do it all. He can stand with him. He can take him down. He can do anything, and before anybody starts thinking about, he's the Division I wrestler, this and that, but hey, he was a Division I wrestler that was wrestling with Jordan Burroughs, and that didn't help him with Khabib. So trust me, when you're talking MMA, there's a difference between just wrestling and MMA wrestling. Khabib was the master, second to none on MMA wrestling. In Islam, I'm going to say is a close second. But they're different. But he's a close second when it comes to MMA wrestling.
However, Gaethje is eager for a title shot against Islam, as he said in his post-fight conference when he fought Rafael Fiziev.
What do you want? What do you still want at this point in your career?
I mean, I want to fight for the belt, obviously. It's a much different matchup than I just had. They tried to give me a donut. I took a bite, but I gotta get back to running if I'm gonna fight Makhachev.
Justin further praised Makhachev for being a great fighter and said that he needs to be the perfect man if he wants to beat Islam Makhachev.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get my jiu-jitsu coach out here. It's really just confidence. He's a tough matchup for him. He's so good, so strong, and I have to have a perfect night if I want to beat him.
Dana White also discussed Justin Gaethje's potential title shot, highlighting that Gaethje's ranking as third gives him a strong chance. He explained that the decision on title contenders depends on factors like injuries, timing, fighters' preferences, and even geography. White emphasized that multiple elements influence who will fight for the title next.
He was back here and said, look, I don't even know what makes sense, but he's like, I do want to fight for the title again at some point. Do you feel like at this point in his career, he's still on a potential championship trajectory?
I mean, what's he ranked right now? Fourth or something, right?
Third.
Yeah, third. There you go. He's still the number 3 ranked guy in the world, so the odds of him getting a title shot are pretty good.
You talk about Gaethje and the potential title shot. How would you guys ultimately make the decision on who's next for Islam?
Yeah, well, you guys know there's a lot of different, factors that, play out when we start talking about who's fighting next. Injuries, timing of when they want to fight, when they don't want to fight, geographically where we end up. So there's a lot of different things that determine whether a guy fights for the title and when.
MMA Guru said that Gaethje has a decent chance against Makhachev after watching his fight against Fiziev.
I actually think Gaethje has a decent chance against Makhachev after watching the Fiziev fight a few more times. I don't know. I just think, obviously, I just think Makhachev will give Gaethje chances in their fight against each other, right?
However, there is another potential opponent waiting for a title shot against Islam Makhachev, and that is Ilia Topuria. Ilia has called out Islam many times and has been eager for a title shot against Islam. He says that Islam is at the top of the division and he just wants to get there.
What's the issue with Islam?
I don't have anything personal with him. He's the world champion in the lightweight division. I want to move up the lightweight division. I want to face him. It's easier for me to weight cut. I already did it. I already fought at 155 in London against Jai Herbert. I want to do it once again for the world title.
Ilia also shared a tweet warning Islam that he can knock him out. Islam just kept his composure and said every fighter wants to finish him. He further said that if Ilia can make up to 155, he can get in the ring.
You said that you're ready to go up a division. There's a tweet from Ilia Topuria that he can go up the weight and he can beat you with no problem. What do you think about that?
Не знаю, еще столько соперников, и все хотят меня там в первом, во втором раунде финишировать, все говорят об этом. Но я же сказал, сделайте 70 килограмм, заходите в клетку. И посмотрим, кто кого финиширует там.
There's all these opponents, they all say they want to finish me in the first or second round. I already said, if you can make 155, you can get into the cage. Let's talk about it then.
Michael Chandler acknowledged Ilia Topuria's knockout power, but believes Islam Makhachev's size and skill would lead to a dominant win if the fight goes past 15 minutes. He respects both fighters.
If Islam and Ilia Topuria go at it, who do you think wins?
Ilia Topuria may be one of my favorite guys to watch stylistically. Ilia does a really good job of trying to win by one, not forcing anything. He's just right there in the middle until he lands the big knockout punch. I didn't think he was going to knock Max Holloway out, and he did. So I think he could catch Islam, but if that fight goes anything past 15 minutes, I think Islam beats him handedly just because Islam is a large 155er, and I don't think Ilia is that big for 145. But like I said, ton of respect for both of those guys.
Sean O'Malley shared his thoughts on a potential matchup between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev, recognizing Islam's size advantage but praising Ilia's impressive skill set. O'Malley sees it as a future super fight if both fighters continue to perform at a high level.
You gotta tell me you wouldn't be interested in Ilia versus Islam. God, I mean, Islam is quite a bit bigger, but I feel like Ilia's skill level is just so high. Obviously, so is Islam. So that could be a potential super fight here in a few years if those guys keep doing their thing.
Khabib Nurmagomedov believes that Ilia Topuria should earn a 155-pound title shot if he beats a top contender such as Dustin Poirier or Charles Oliveira, arguing that without such a win, it wouldn't be fair to Islam.
Ilia Topuria. He said, you know what? I want to go up to 155 pounds, fight the #1 contender, and then if he wins that, then he fights Islam. I think that's good, brother. I think he deserves.
I think if he move up and he beat somebody like Dustin Poirier or Charles Oliveira, he's next. Why not? Because there is nobody.
Khabib opposed the idea of giving Ilia a title shot without first facing a top 155-pound fighter. He stated that if Ilia defeated a leading lightweight, he would have been a legitimate contender for Islam's title.
So you don't think right now Ilia deserves a shot at 155 pounds?
Without fighting in 155? Without, no, I don't agree. Because Islam already give chance and people talk bad about like, oh, he fight 2 times with Volkanovski, but the UFC pushed this fight, and this fight was good in first fight. But why Islam have to give 3 times chance for 145 champion? Why? It's not fair for 155 pounds.
Right,
But if he move up and he beat somebody like Charles Oliveira, of course. You know what I think?
Yeah.
I think he can beat him.
Yeah. I like Charles, but I think so too.
No, I think Ilia can beat him.
Max Holloway feels that Islam Makhachev's well-rounded skills make him a tough opponent to bet against. He believes that Islam's experience and control would likely be too much for Ilia Topuria to overcome.
Ilia versus Makhachev, what would you think? Who would win?
I mean, bro, it's hard to go against Islam. His fighting style is a tough one. You know, he likes wrestling. He likes striking. Now he's falling in love with his striking. It's hard to bet against Islam. At the end of the day, if he gets it, that's cool, but probably not. He has Volk and Diego driving down the door right now, so I think they might keep him down here.
Dustin Poirier thinks Islam Makhachev is bigger than Ilia Topuria, but believes Ilia has the power to knock out anyone from 145 to 170 pounds. He also feels that Islam could win the 170-pound title if he chose to.
Islam's a big guy.
Big guy.
I think he's going to be a lot bigger than Topuria, but that being said, Topuria is an assassin, and I believe he can knock out anybody from 145 pounds to 170 pounds.
You think Islam could become the champion at upper weight class, maybe 170 if he wanted to?
Yeah, I believe Islam could win the 170-pound belt.
Michael Bisping praised Ilia Topuria's boxing, but pointed out that Islam Makhachev's kicks and takedowns could make the fight unpredictable.
Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria. Now, if we just imagine that the wrestling nullifies itself, which I don't think it would. I think Islam's wrestling is probably a little bit better. But if we just say that, if we look at the striking styles, Ilia Topuria, I favor him as the boxer. Islam Makhachev, he's got some nice little kicks, just as Alexander Volkanovski, right? The problem is with Ilia Topuria, with that boxing style, he's very, very heavy on that lead leg. So you're going to look for Islam Makhachev to chip away with calf kicks, try and keep him at bay with Ilia being the shorter guy, then bring the kicks upstairs, use straight shots, then mixing the takedowns. Either way, I don't know who would win, because both of these guys are absolutely incredible, but you can bet your bottom dollar.
Alexander Volkanovski recognized Islam Makhachev's skills, but emphasized that Ilia Topuria possesses the power to knock out anyone with his hands.
How would you say that fight going between Islam and Ilia?
Yeah, I mean, Islam's really good, you know what I mean? But again, Ilia's the type of guy that he could knock out anyone. So he's got power in them hands, you know what I mean? Everyone knows that. You go in there fighting him, you know that that's his chance of winning.
So what are your thoughts on this? Who do you think should get the title shot against Islam Makhachev? Share your thoughts in the comments section, and also make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.